tomorrow, Friday, but come down. Wait till he moves.
They'll be cutting it up and acting like you're going.
Okay, guys, sorry about the delay there. We got the recording going. I'd like to ask Wayne for a roll call.
Willie Campbell.
Here.
Nancy Brown.
Here.
Steve Burrow. Gary Kemp.
Here.
Ginger Holdren. Here. Nathan Clausen.
Here.
Jason Rasnick.
Here.
Kelly Paul.
Here.
Thank you. We've added on new business, down at the bottom, I didn't put it down because I didn't get this back. Budget review, new business. So I'm telling you now, before I ask for approval for the agenda, because we added that to the bottom there.
So add that to the last thing under new business?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to approve agenda.
And I'll second that, approved as amended.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Approval of last month's minutes, on May the 1st.
Make a motion to accept.
Nancy.
Second.
All approved?
Aye.
Is there anyone in the public that wants to address the landfill committee at this time? Okay, so be it, and we'll move on to old business. Last month, we approved, the director's pay to Stephen where he was filling in for Benny. Benny brought the truck back and we're using it, and we put him some new tires on it so it don't go flat no more. We're still waiting on the credit card machine because we're waiting on the Spectrum to come up and tell us about running the new line and stuff. So we're waiting on them. They said it could be a couple of weeks. Send a repairman out there to let us know. Stephen went to Murfreesboro, took the certification course. So that'll help Benny out when Benny comes back. And he made a score of 100. I probably wouldn't have made 50. So, and he also got the road department to help him with the road up to the demolition site. It's not like a washboard anymore, and it's nice and smooth up through there. That's about all the old business we've had, unless somebody's got something else. Okay. On the new business, we'll move on to the new business. That truck that Benny had, and the key got gone when they had the break in and stuff. A key fob, because the key and the fob and everything's all together. Just a key fob. If you will see there, I put, if you go down here to the dealer, it's going to cost $400 or $500. You can order that key fob online and have it cut up here at Stouts for a couple hundred, $200, $250. I put 2 to 3, but you can have it. It's a little cheaper if you get it. And I don't know how the county does online buying, if they do it all. So that's, I guess we just need to decide and somebody make a motion that we do this, or we just leave it like it is and just have the one key.
So Chad, just a motion from us will be okay, and then how will we do the online ordering?
We have to have approved vendors and find vendors that would be suitable and meet all the requirements for us.
Or could we have Craig order it through him and then we just, cause I mean, Stout's already a vendor, locksmith.
If they're a vendor and they can order it online, then
Then we can have him order it and then
Steps.
that would eliminate that part.
When you ask him that, I didn't know. We could do that, we'd just have him order it and cut it and
Yeah.
just have the one. So we do we have to, does Stephen have to come down and do a PO?
yeah, we'll have to do a PO and everything. And
Rose, do you want to make the motion or?
We just need to make it where it doesn't exceed 300. But what we need,
I would, yeah.
we got the money to buy it.
Where's the money gonna come from?
Yeah.
Any suggestions?
I don't have the expenditure report, I don't know. Stephen, if any of those amendments that you were looking at were cover anything?
Yes, but.
That's what I gave you.
That's there.
Just tell us to lock them.
Don't you have to flash that file?
Can he program that key, Gary? So he programmed the truck, though.
Imagine it would. Stouts can do that.
And they can't.
I just asked him if he could cut it, I didn't go into detail or.
He can make it to it, that's fine.
Thank you. That's good. He's done it.
He did it on a Chevrolet, but I don't think he did on that.
He can do it on any of them.
As long as you have an existing file, it won't be an issue.
No.
So did Chad not find a line or he doesn't? Oh, she's looking. Okay.
When it was split the budget, they said to send it back and they wanted us to get a hold of it and everything.
Key place.
Budget meeting. But
Yeah, they did mention that. They mentioned about keying the whole truck. It's gonna be $4,000 or $5,000.
I don't see how that can be any cheaper. That's way worse.
You'd have to do the doors, the kitchen,
Okay.
everything.
Discussed where you're gonna get it from last time.
He's a locksmith. He's a locksmith. Got you a better deal then.
Do you have anything in vehicle parts? Yeah, they did.
Last time I checked, that was in the last 6 months. Around 7. We're getting close.
Since you seen that?
Everything since then, I think everything's been hard for us.
What I'm looking at here, I mean, the numbers are only as recent as January. Well, no, I guess the end of November last year, so it's hard to know what's in there today.
I can check on it tomorrow and if funds are available from somewhere else. I mean, it's just a lot of moving parts. He already has one amendment that's going in to cover other things. So it'd be hard to pinpoint right now where it could come from.
Yeah.
Without doing a deep dive with it.
So.
Can we make a motion?
Pending,
Say,
pending money available.
you all find where the best place is. I mean, this isn't life or death right here, so if he can't find it, then we could still.
Let's lose the keys. I'll make a motion is not to exceed $300. Purchase the fob and have it hired for the truck pending Chad finding the money to pay for it. Pending him finding the money to pay for it.
Line item. Is that legal? Can we do that?
I mean, my suggestion would probably be, just to be safe, ask for a budget amendment to transfer it from the landfill's unassigned fund balance to the appropriate line. If there's enough money in there already, you won't need it. It'll roll back in like 2 weeks or whenever the end of this month is. So, I mean, I think that would cover all bases. If he finds it, great. If he doesn't, transfer it in and spend. You can ask budget committee to approve that amendment next week.
You add that to it.
Not to exceed 300, asking budget to transfer money into what account? As needed.
Yeah, I would just say something like, it can come from unassigned fund balance to the appropriate line if there's not sufficient funds in that line already. Is it equipment? What's the name of the line? It'd be like a vehicle parts? Is that what you said? Yeah, so use vehicle parts. Even if you transfer it in, and like I said, if there's, no matter how much is in there, if it's unused, it's gonna come right back, roll into the fund balance anyway. June 30th.
Well, I'll second that motion.
You said
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Willie Campbell.
Aye.
Nancy Brown.
Yes.
Steve Burrow.
Yes.
Gary Kemp.
Aye.
Ginger Holdren.
Aye.
Jason Clausen.
Yes.
Jason Reisnick.
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
The next two items on there, I think we need to table them to a later time because of the kickback on the budget already. Because I put this out before we received the budget. So do I need to ask for a motion to do that, or?
I think he has to have a motion to defer those two.
Well, the correct term, Attorney Harden, is not table it. It's
Right, postpone to a certain time, so if you want to postpone it to the next meeting. But yeah, since they're agenda items, I'll just have a vote to postpone those until the next landfill meeting.
Okay. The two items there, compressor and the radios that I had on there, ask for a
You
motion.
need a motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could I say something about the radios?
Yes, sir.
The radios are supposed to be in the package with the new radio communication system that's going to go to work with the county. Those are supposed to be bought to go to the landfill. Includes trucks and the foreman and the supervisor.
You have radios in them already?
We bought radios several years back, but no one here and there, so we just didn't proceed with it.
I refresh my mind. If we go with Motorola, is that what we went with?
So if that's already been approved for you all to have them, then we don't need to worry about
I've
money.
actually-
Anyway.
You know, when they started this, they came to the county how many we needed, so that's in the works.
So we don't even need to.
I wouldn't worry about the radios.
Okay, we'll just ask for a motion into postpone the air compressor to our next meeting in June, July, and we'll take off the radios completely.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
One second.
all in favor? We'll keep that and we'll mark the radios off. Okay, the last, well, not the last item, but interim pay, we sent that to budget and they approved it through May 31st, which was Wednesday, last week. And Mr. Lyons will be returning to work hopefully on the 11th or 12th, somewhere down there. And so we need to do something about the next couple of weeks. If Stephen's gonna be doing this for 2 more weeks on his pay. And it was suggested that we set it up for the whole month of June. Then what we don't use, we'll just dissipate or go back in the budget. Like if we do it for the whole month, if we vote on it for the whole month, and then you only use this 2 weeks. But if it goes over 2 weeks and something happens and he can't come back on the 11th or 12th, then it's already approved to carry it through till he does get back.
Harry, can I ask that either you or Director Lyons just kind of update the committee, because I don't know if everybody is as up to date as you are. I've had a personal conversation with Ben over the last month, but I don't know that all 8 of us have. So can somebody just kind of update as to why the date is changing from May 31st to something else?
The date changed because of his doctor. His doctor changed today, correct me? His doctor moved the date to the 25th of June instead of May 31st.
Okay.
But he has an appointment on the 11th, correct? On the 11th. And he is going to ask her if she will release him, come back before the 25th. So he might be, I don't even know, I don't have a calendar. He might be back on the 12th or right around that date.
There again, you may say no, and on the 25th, extend it again.
They could.
So why don't we make a motion to approve Stephen until Benny comes back?
Sugar down and my blood pressure down.
Yeah. He's doing good. He's got his blood pressure down, sugar's down.
month anyway.
I think he's down because he wants to get out and do something.
In the May minutes, we already had that, under new business, we approved that anyhow. Committee returns back. Number 7, new business.
To Jason's point, I would be comfortable with moving it forward to say the end of July, just in case. But I don't want to extend it indefinitely. So that the committee could take a different action if necessary by the end of July. If Benny's not back. Am I making sense?
Yeah, but like what Willie just said, this is from April 18th to what would be 2 months, would be June 18th. This carries us to then, but it would make more sense to carry it to July. That way we don't have to vote again in several weeks.
What do y'all think?
Yeah, I agree, because if we did it indefinitely, we're not gonna know how much to pull, and not gonna be sure where we're gonna pull it from either. I think we just need to do it basically month by month. It'll be,
To the end of July.
So that 2 months was
Yeah.
April, May,
It was from April 18th.
to the end of May.
It would be 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it says in the minutes.
Well, it says it like that, but it was through May 31st, with back paid to the 18th.
It says 2 months.
Back, they said, they,
2 months from April 18th to June 18th.
Director Benny Lyons comes back.
What it says.
It may have gotten worded differently when it went before the full commission. That may be why we're disagreeing right now, is everybody's memory is correct. We're just having 2 different memories, a landfill meeting memory and a full commission meeting memory. I don't have a way to look that up right now, but.
Gotcha.
It was worded different in the budget. They worded it
Mm,
to the 31st and they back paid to the 18th.
there you go.
I just took it to the 31st. Sorry. Just going off the
Yeah,
minutes.
it could have, it just been worded different. But it did go through, because it started in April, so we said 2 months, then it would April and May through the 31st, and back paid to 18th.
the budget's gonna want an exact amount. That was kind of the problem we had before. We didn't give them an
Yeah, we didn't
exact
give an amount, yeah.
amount, so, and with Carolyn not here, I don't know.
$1,783 a
I'm
month.
gonna do that on the fly.
Additional.
Unless you have to go back.
$1,783 a month additional.
It won't be, it'll be a month and a little bit more, won't it?
Just however it breaks down about a week, yeah.
Chad, does it have to be exact, or can we say up to $3,600 through the end of July? Can we do that? Does it have to be an exact amount?
I think that would word it as a set of calculations for the presented to them.
Okay,
Works for me.
all right, then I'll make, the motion that we, extend interim pay for Stephen, the interim director, through July 31st. Or, it can be less than that if Ben comes back sooner. And the money will come from the unassigned fund balance of the landfill. And then I guess that ends my motion, but then I guess the committee just needs to understand if there's no money in that line, it's gonna have to happen differently than what I just said. But we can send it forward to budget like that if you all approve.
Does it matter if there's a holiday in that too?
get paid?
His salary, so it wouldn't matter.
I don't think so.
Send this,
Into the motion.
I said up to $3,600 through the end of July.
send this to the full.
Well, it'll have to go to budget first.
No money in that fund balance.
I kind of don't think there is either. So it's probably going to end up being at the discretion of the budget committee.
Sitting here, we're spending money we don't know how.
Commission fund house then.
I want to motion to send it to the budget.
Budget.
I'll second.
Because they're meeting Thursday, right?
June the 12th, yeah.
No, 8.
It was on the 8th and
Well, they got the 8th too.
Yeah, that's why we're gonna get the budget cut, see if we make any by the 8th.
What is that, a special call meeting? Oh,
They're still having a lot of them, Gary.
okay. I didn't know, I was just going by my schedule here. Willie,
Really?
roll call.
Willie Campbell,
Aye.
Nancy Brown. Steve Burrow. Gary Kemp,
Aye.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Jason Clausen,
Yes.
Jason Raznick,
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Okay, last. The budget. They kicked this out again, and I've spent the last 2 or 3 days going over this, and that's why I sent it to y'all. I don't know what they want to cut. I mean, you have to have money to operate on. And if you ain't got the money, you might as well shut the doors. You can't run it. So,
The thing about it, you can't shut the doors.
well, I know that. I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, where it's leaking leachate right now, that is just unbelievable. And we're lucky that the city of Johnson City's still taking our leachate. I mean,
Who's leaking?
it's just leachate. It's going through the class 1.
Oh,
So you got that, and I mean, I went over the budget. I didn't have a whole lot of time today, and I didn't see. I mean, it's bare bone, guys, and I'm not trying to. I'm just an outsider looking in. I just try and take some pressure off my brother right there, and try to give y'all some good guidance. And you know, City of Johnson City could jump us up at any time on our leachate. We're heavy in ammonia and also heavy on metals. So, and they've got, instead of leachate, it's water, what they're talking about on the budget paper. I don't know what line item it is. There just really ain't a lot you can do. Recycling, it kind of covers itself, but it doesn't. But you got to remember too, all your banding materials and stuff, all wires. I don't know if you bought a roll of barbed wire, but $25 or $29.95 roll of barbed wire last year is $75, $78 now. So wire's going up. Can you think of anything else, Benny? I ain't trying to overtalk you, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
you're fine. When I cut the budget in April before I left, I cut it as far as I possibly could cut it. I ain't being smart or nothing, but you can't run a $high steakhouse on a Taco Bell budget. It won't happen. There's things that has to happen up there that cost money, cost big money. Disposal. The disposal trash. I mean, trash comes in every day. You have to pay to get rid of it in order to be able to make money for taking it. So you can't go in there and cut stuff like that. And I was up there helping Stephen Friday, just some paperwork and some other stuff. I heard him, talking to the finance, trying to figure out where to move money from this line item to cover this line item. Well, that's what's happened this year already. We've had to pull from a line item here to cover over here to run our money. And with everything going up, your parts, your labor to get stuff fixed, all that stuff's went up. In order for us to maintain where we're at, I don't see cutting that budget anymore. Not to mention the amount of money you're receiving on your recycles. And that's true, the recycles went down, which you can jump back up. Because like I've always said, it's like a roller coaster. It's up, down, it moves all the time.
It's like a stock market.
And that's a service we provide to the citizens of this county absolutely free. We don't charge a dime to take recycling. When our guys work overtime on Saturday, we don't charge the public for that. That's something we do for free.
Well, it's basically an unfunded mandate because we still have to meet a 35% reduction in solid waste. It was 25, I think it did get a 35.
I don't think it's actually at 35, it's like 32 something.
Yeah. So I've been out of the game, guys, for a long time, so I'm just trying to get caught back up in a short period. But, it's an unfunded mandate the state of Tennessee and the Environmental Protection Agencies put on us. It's put on the state of Tennessee, which Tennessee Department of Environmental Conservation handles that, which they request that you meet that 32 point whatever. And so far, we've done pretty good over the last 10 years. And it's really, really increased. There was a dead spot there when we had the big fire, but other than that, we've met pretty good on that goal. So that keeps one part of TDEC off our back. So that's something that you don't make money, but you do sometimes clear it.
Even the bush hogging, they want to go up on it this year. Fuel, parts for their equipment.
Costing them more.
It's costing them more, so.
What is it, he said it's
24.
15 now, they want to go up to 24.
I mean, we didn't tell you. They ain't too many people crazy enough to do it.
I wouldn't ride a tractor on that.
I wouldn't ride a four-wheeler across part of it.
Listen, I ride tractors in some pretty crazy places, but I'm telling you, that's the, if Cobalt wants to ride it for that, God bless his soul.
That's something too. I ain't got the money to pay for that either, but are we mandated it has to be mowed so many
It
times
has to
a
be mowed
year?
twice a year.
Have to mow it twice a year.
In their budget, they went through a little bit and there were some questions on line item 5575 disposal fees and it's water. And last year it was 16,000 and this year it's 45,000. I know we talked about it, but I could not remember to tell them in budget.
Tell you what happened there, we've got a new inspection, it's better efficiency. Different than other inspectors are to work with, so therefore, it has to be hauled off more. In turn, every time you go over and give them 6 tickets, and, you're looking at $600-700 is what it boils down to by the time you do the math per truck. So when we generally haul off once a day, maybe every other day. And if it rains, you're hauling way more.
When we had that big water a while back and we were having to haul it off,
Yes, ma'am.
came up, this is what we're talking about right here.
Exactly.
That's what I thought, but I could not, and I didn't say anything.
That's what made that go up, jump so high, One year we may not have a lot of water. It ain't gonna cost as much to maintain it. But you have a big rain event. The way those leach aid lines were put in there after the fact, in the 90s, after it was closed, they catch a lot of top water. Instead of it soaking through the ground, they catch the rainwater. And that tends to make you haul a lot more.
So, what I did is I looked at the dates and the weather on this notice of violation, if y'all don't mind me. If I kind of explain what's going on. Well, first thing, our landfill is not a bottom line landfill. Our landfill was before the bottom liner was in consideration of an impermeable membrane, which is a rubbery type membrane, plus your clay layers, which is compacted. Ours just has clay layer. We have a membrane on top and a clay layer with these little landfills move. They're alive. You know, they've got stuff that's in there and they settle and they pull and they move and they twist. So when you have cold weather, I don't know if anybody's heard of frost heave or not, but if you've ever seen cold weather, clay has a tendency to dry and freeze and kind of crack. And then all of a sudden when it warms up, it leaves this big fissure in there, a big place for water to go. So what I did, I went back and looked from January 1st to the January the 16th, we had 3.73 inches of water near the landfill. That's not exactly on the landfill, but that is at our airport. So I pulled that and I looked at the weather prior to that. We had some of those dead cold days and then it warmed up when we got that. One day we had over an inch. Another day we had another almost an inch and a tenth. So that's quite a bit of water in just 2 days. So yes, they did come in on a Tuesday. On Monday, that water may not have, because of the cold weather and the seepage, it may have not have come all the way through our landfill and got into that leachate system, if that makes sense to anybody.
Been froze down deep.
Yeah, so you know, when you get a freeze, it's holding it there, it might freeze again and hold that water, you know. It's not like regular soil that's never been disturbed. It'll freeze down below 18 inches. Especially with all those cold days we had there in December. And then once it released, and I only done 16 days. I didn't go back and calculate the rest of it. So, I mean, it is what it is. And they'll be there. I'm going to discuss that with Mr. George. What's his name? Thornberry? He and I'll have a long talk on Wednesday. You know about Wednesday. Sir?
I'll be out of town.
You said you'd be in Alabama. I was going to say, Lord God, son, what are you going to do? Huh?
I'll be out of town.
All right, I got you covered.
You need to explain about Wednesday's meeting, because I don't know if everyone knows.
Stephen, go ahead.
Wednesday, there was a question that we could be outside of our boundary on one of our embankments. So Wednesday, we've got a meeting with TDEC, George, Brett, Lindsey Harris with S&M. He's going to be there as well. We're just going to go over the plans, operations permit, and just basically do a general survey, make sure we're not outside of bounds. We've looked it over. I think we're good, but we kind of just touch base and make sure we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, staying inside the lines.
So basically, if you don't mind me interrupting, basically what they're probably going to request is that we have a topographical type survey, probably a LiDAR flyover. I'm going to go up tomorrow about midday. Me and Stevens will take brush axe and machetes and see if we can find the existing points that are our boundary. I don't think we're out of our boundary, and if we are, it's due to the fire that we had and you had to dig out. But right now, our water and our slope is looking pretty good. We got one slope on the face that's going to have to be tweaked a little bit. But other than that, I think once we pull it, and they're complaining about it too, so we'll know more by next meeting. Well, Steve will know more. We'll get it figured out. And I'll keep Benny informed, sir.
What Bravo is
Well, you got a new inspector in there. He came from the state of Kentucky, and he was a Meshaw guy, which deals with rock quarries, strip mines, things of that nature. So and he is a registered civil engineer in the state of Kentucky, but he's not in Tennessee, and he's never really dealt with landfills. So we'll have a nice little talk, and I'll be very graceful, technical, and tactical.
That was the only place I saw that I thought we could cut that we hadn't already cut. There's a building construction, and that's gonna be on, when we get to commissioners' comments or whatever about the concrete being poured or that type of thing too. So I just don't think we can cut there. I mean, we went up $5,000, I think, so.
Did you have any suggestions, Chad? Where we could cut or?
You just answered the only places I saw that made the most sense. That's okay.
I mean, a whole lot of these are payroll that went up. And, I mean, we knew that was gonna happen when we hired, another.
Plus you had truck drivers go up at the first of this fiscal year, three. They did it to 1301. Then they bring them up to equal you had that on top of the additional driver. Not to get in y'all's business too much. I just
Went up a little bit in maintenance and repairs and service, but I mean, I know for my husband, that's gone up.
And that's gonna continue to rise.
I mean, so when we're having to repair things because we've got old equipment, you gotta pay for it, so.
And a lot of it too, you gotta think, a lot of it too, you gotta think, the inflation also went up, and also availability's gotten crazy on a lot of parts too. I mean, used to, you could go down here and buy fuel filters, air filters off the shelf for these things, and now it's, you're having to pay to have them shipped to you because they don't have them. They're across the country somewhere. Or, we had one piece of equipment, we had to get parts, I think, from out of the country, Australia or somewhere. So, with everything like that, it's just gonna keep going up too, so.
We didn't go up that much anyway, but I mean, a little bit there, but we went up.
We got a truck sitting up there now, the rear end out of it, we need to kick it in, fix it either.
Like I say, when I went through that, I didn't people, I mean, I could, I don't want to say fault, I probably should have.
Well, Carolyn said in the meeting before last, she didn't know where else we could cut either.
So,
After Benny cut that budget, he said he cut it probably to the bare bone, but now we're dealing with a month or two that everything's just starting to triple and double again. Can't cut, getting prices raised on you every day. The other way.
I mean, you can't even use ag fuel at the landfill because it's basically the same price as what your road fuel is, what y'all are using now. I mean, so you're getting it cheaper right now. Well, Shannon is now than what you can get ag fuel for. And you're getting road fuel, so there's no savings there now. When it used to be $1 or so cheaper, it's not anymore.
Hydraulic oil, it went up. Motor oils went up. Your baling wire, I just seen a PO the other day that it's went up when we ordered the last time.
Oh, yeah. It's just gonna keep on going up.
Well, that's not any fault to anybody, it's just the fact that what the economy's doing.
So just have to budget as is.
So if we send this back through this like it is, what are they gonna do?
What choice do we have?
Send it back,
I've been through that rodeo.
Send it back, it's gonna put them behind. Getting it filled out, is that correct?
Ma'am?
They have to send it back to us again, we'll have to have a special call meeting. I mean,
I'll be.
they didn't really make.
motion For Attorney Harden, but after it gets kicked back so many times, I don't know if it gives them more authority.
Right.
I think it does. I think it does.
Yeah.
It's after if it's been sent back twice, on the third time, you're supposed to go before full commission on the third time unless the budget committee and you all waive that, decide you're gonna consider it again in your budget, in your landfill meeting, but at some point, it's gonna be a question for full commission. And if you all are for it, you've got 8 votes already, so it could pass in full commission when it wouldn't pass in budget.
Okay, just throwing something out there. I'm trying to look at this on my phone, which is not easy.
I know, I'm trying.
But, the line item for, it's got something to do with equipment. I keep sliding left and right and I'm forgetting. But the one that is currently at 45,000. Yeah, and I think it, was less than that last year because it's showing a 5.9% increase. I believe that's equipment and machinery parts. In my time on the commission, I have not seen the full commission fail to grant, and some of you other veterans of any position, correct me if I'm wrong, but I have not seen the full commission fail to grant the landfill a need when it arose. So I'm going to say that I personally am willing to cut this to some degree, and maybe especially in that equipment line item that I just referenced. Because I have faith in the full commission that if something happens and money is needed for a repair or replacement, they'll come through for the landfill, I do believe. So in good faith, if we made a cut, it would show them that we're trying, that we're hearing them, that we're trying, we're being cooperative. And it'll keep them from cutting it themselves if we do the cutting. We did buy new equipment this past year, so we're not in as bad a shape with equipment as we have been in years past.
This one you're talking about.
Yes, that's the one. So what line is that? That's line 418. Chad, is it the third number over? So there's like a 116 in front of it and then a 55754, 418.
Yeah.
And then it says $45,000 is proposed right now, which is a 5.9% increase.
That would be one of them that I looked at where you had leftovers the year before, and then you actually took funds from it last year to get down and then reduced it back. But I'm not familiar with that equipment, so I wouldn't want to suggest.
So there has been budget amendments to take from that line item this year.
Awesome.
So what if we took 15,000 out of that one line?
What's that line referred to on there, maintenance?
Refers to as equipment and machinery parts. And the amended balance in January, well, no, never mind. I guess Chad's already said the point I was gonna make, is we did take 12,000 out of it.
Where did we add that to, Chad? Which line item?
No, in front of me.
What's our status right now on the compactor as far as overheating? Does it look like it's a radiator? Does it look like it's a head?
I think, as far as overheating issues goes, I think it's just.
Added it to vehicle parts.
We noticed, the nozzle, starts to get a little hot, you know, back out up a little bit. I think it's a thermostat issue. We're gonna get thermostats. Make sure everything's good.
Mr. Andrew, could I ask a question on that 12,000 that was moved?
Yes.
We approved it somewhere this year for a purpose that was needed, right?
I'm sure.
So
I think we moved it to vehicle parts, which to me
I think
is
so.
basically the same.
that's what I was just wondering. With that truck to move next year,
Machinery parts,
That's
vehicles.
road traffic.
it may very well be if it's vehicle parts.
What we do for the road traffic?
We bought that out of unassigned fund balance. But all thing I was getting at is if you move it from this line item to put it somewhere else, you need it there for some reason. Or it would have got moved real early in the year. We run out of money there somewhere or another. So if that line item wasn't raised 12,000, we'd be shy there for some reason. I know I took quite a bit of money this year out of disposal to amend in other areas that's needed.
Well, the thing is probably one of our most popular line items we use from, because that's all fuel filters, air filters. That's we get 99% of the stuff around there for.
What Ginger's looking at too. Gotta be careful. If something does break down, it don't, whatever. I've seen this happen under Jack. We put a stipulation. You know, in his, this is about what we're talking about right now. You get $3,000 worth of asphalt on the truck. It needs a water pump on it. You got it set beside the road. You gotta get that on there as quick as possible. What you wouldn't hold with. The same way, if that machinery breaks down right when it's, especially on covering and stuff like that. I see where you're going, you know, and I know, you know, it's a hard decision for all of us to make.
Junior, can I suggest something?
Yes, sir.
The disposal line item.
Yes, sir.
On that, we talked about it last month of the year, to make sure we got money. So to take away anything, I would probably take it out of disposal first. Because that way your truck pump, there, you don't have to try to do budget amendments, stuff like that. If something breaks, you've got money in there. But on the disposal, you've got 8, 9, 10 good months you can run. I'm sure you're still on that money. On 500, I think it's 500 or 600,000 disposal.
Yeah, 610.5.
I hadn't looked at it a little bit, but yeah, I would probably be more comfortable taking from there than I would from the equipment parts and stuff like that, because that way you'll still have that there to work with if something major happens. That gives you 90 days working period
out there.
Yeah, because, you know, even over there, we could pay 30 days out at the landfill. So it kind of gives you a little bit of a pillow to, in case something major happens.
Okay. Well, let me ask you about one more, and I'm just asking, okay? Line item 453, which is vehicle parts, has almost doubled in the past year. It started out at 17,300 and some odd dollars. The 21-22 actual to the proposed 23-24 is at 30,000 now.
And that's where I was, we probably take money from one line item, put in that line item.
Okay.
The way the finance department set
12,000
up,
moved in.
you've got equipment and you've got vehicles that you pull from.
Yeah.
So that's, and it could have, you know, we could have had to add to that from one of the other line items.
Yeah. Ms. Kelly thinks that she's found it, and I see it now too, the 12,000 got moved from that other line to that one. Yeah. So, all right.
Benny, how much do you think would be safe to take out of disposal?
They're asking for what, 95?
Well, they are, but they, I mean, that includes the raises, which everybody's department had some type of a, you know, increase because of the raises. Of course, that affects, you know, this one whole page, pension and dental, and I mean, you know, the whole thing, that affects that whole thing. We can't really touch that.
And let me ask you something going forward. You know, I've explained, they don't give us no money when they put raises in. We're gonna continue to have to cut the budget every year somebody gets a raise.
Now what?
When the county gives a raise across the board, landfill foots their own. We don't get, the county don't put any money in there for that particular 2%, 3%, whatever they do. They don't put money in there for us. So going forward, next year, if somebody give, you know, if you give $1 raise across the board, are we going to have to cut the budget more and meet up for that?
That don't make sense.
Can somebody else that works for the county speak to that?
Well, they run off a separate system to where they run off the revenue that they bring in. So yeah, he's exactly right there. If the county gives that raise, they're giving it out of his unassigned fund balance. So then then we still have,
Not really
I hate to beat a dead horse, but we've still got a class 1 that we've got to babysit, and we still got a closure, post-closure on a class 3, 4 C and D up there. I mean, I've got some ideas to work it out. Me and Benny will sit down and Steven will sit down and talk it over, but you know, that baby, as long as she's giving leachate out we've got to babysit it.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some ideas. I'm doing some studying. I'm trying to get some information. But ain't nothing cheap in the landfill business.
That's all I was throwing out there. You know, if they vote for a raise, we come up with it out of what we bring across the scales of. They'll never give us money in our pot. The raises.
You know, is it still 97,655?
And something that might be confusing the budget committees where it says water instead of leachate,
15 cents.
that doesn't help any, you know, for the explanation of what it is. You know, I don't know if everybody knows what leachate is, but it's nasty.
Well, I thought that's what it was in budget, but I was afraid to say until I double checked when they were asking about the 45,000 on that line item. But I knew we'd had a lot of water issues there for, you know, a month. When it
To be safe,
stopped raining.
I would pull it out of waste disposal, not water, waste disposal.
So it says disposal fees, right?
Yes.
That line. Okay.
You've got 9 months to play with that, see where you're gonna be.
Well, you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see us give them something to talk about. I'd like to see us earn an extra $100,000 you know, if we could find a way to generate that revenue and make up for it. That's a very positive way to get them talking about you.
Maybe what, 40,000? Would that be?
Let me ask you something.
The balance in June, 42.
Is that what we've got left in there? 42?
Well, this was last year, sorry.
Okay. I know we pulled from that some this year. Disposal, put in some other areas. And they may come up short this year from disposal.
Yeah, that's under right.
Cut from it.
Line item.
What are you running, Steve? 55, 56,000?
At the moment in time, not seeing any amendments coming from the line item either.
Yeah, I didn't see it on here. So you're saying 54,000 a month?
Yeah, they're 54, 56,000 a month.
We got how much in there?
Well, this was I looked at the date wrong.
42,000.
Just 640.
We don't have enough budgeted now then.
All right, that comes out more than what we've got budgeted.
You're doing, I mean, if it's that much every single month, unless you have a month that's a whole lot less, we don't even have
Once in a
enough.
while, you'll have one that varies, you'll get a 46 or 47, but for the most part, the average is around 54.
It ain't gonna be much under 50 if it is, and that's, you couple of small winter months.
And we barely have enough. Even if you did it at 50, it's only,
We're only 10,000 over that.
But, you know, if it comes down to it, then they're gonna have to help the landfill out. I feel like it would be better to roll it out as long as you can with that than it would be to pull it out of these little budgets that you've got to try to work to find something to get a truck off the road.
Especially if it's getting ready to get hot, we blow 2 or 3 radiators.
And you'll do stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be,
Summertime, it wreaks havoc on equipment.
that's,
See, we're getting ready to start closure on the 3-4 on cell 1 and 2. We're getting real close to closure time on it. And it's rough on a dozer. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Nothing easy about it.
well, I'll bite the bullet and say to cut 30,000. That'd be too much.
I mean, if you do that, I think it's gonna get us further into the year so we can see kind of what we're doing. You know, because at the end of the year, we may turn money in from some line items, and if we need it next year, we can put it, none of them put back in.
Is that a fairly good idea?
I would think so. Like you said, that would give you time to gauge it and
Well, we'll have basically 11 months.
an emergency type issue. Like they've said, I mean, other than disposal, I don't know where you.
And disposal gives you that leeway, that 90-day window
I'm afraid to do.
that you need to operate in as far as the county budget, financials go. Can I see your signature?
We're thinking if we try half of the 97, which 45, 50,000 out of disposal. I mean, Gary, are you gonna be here at Thursday?
I'll leave Wednesday morning, won't be back till Sunday night.
Well, they're already mad at me, so somebody else on this committee needs to go and explain what we're doing, okay? And if we take,
This Thursday coming,
if we take 50,000 out of disposal, I'm sure it's in that line item, 359-000. That's my motion. With the understanding, and you can put this on a little post, that we may have to come back in June and ask for money.
I will say a lot of the budgets I've seen, I've had similar situations where they cut something pretty close, saying, we may have to come back. This is where we're gonna cut it from.
I mean, if we can get recycling built up a little bit more, then maybe this will go down some anyway.
And that's possible. I mean, you may have a blanket there if it goes back up, which, I still talk to these people. They call me,
I wasn't talking just prices, I was just talking getting more recycling in there to generate, a little bit more money over there. I'd love to think we're gonna make extra $50,000 over there, but
Something flexible.
Well, I'm gonna second her motion and I will come Thursday night.
they'll be happy to know I can't be here Thursday anyway. I'll be watching, but I can't be here.
I'll be at camp.
The motion is 50,000 from the waste disposal fee.
Disposal fee, yeah.
so
Yeah, you want the line item number?
359-000.
What's the number?
359-000. I'm sorry.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Steve Burrow,
Yes.
Gary Kemp,
Yes.
Kendra Holden,
Yes.
Jason Paulson,
Yes.
Jason Raznick,
No.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Does that motion includes to send it back to budget, correct?
This Thursday, yeah. That's what they ask us to do.
I need to send Aaron. Okay, director's report. Anything? To start monthly report or material summary report. Past month, Frank, got made $173,729. I'm not sure, I want to say it's about the same as last month. It's definitely, from a busy standpoint, it's definitely good this year. There's definitely a lot more volume coming in.
Can you get us next time what the month before, I know planning does this, they have it, the total each month, and they accumulate it. Is there any way you can add another line item to this so that we know what our total amount is? Does that make sense? So like in June of last year or May, or just May, we'll know what we took in, keep a running total. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there should be a way. I'll have to play around with the system.
I think it's just maybe adding a line.
Yeah, and it looks like you've got enough room.
Girls will have to get in there and try to figure it out, but I'm sure there's gotta be a way some way.
I just got it on an Excel spreadsheet. Through the system we use, you should be able to pick your month. Generate a report.
That way we can kind of get an idea of what's up or down, you know. Maybe whoever's on this committee next year can, you know, make adjustments or whatever.
Recycle, it is slowly picking them up. It's starting to go up. They said it's a bit of a roller coaster. It's not be way up this month, it might fall down next month. And for as far as the cardboard volume goes, I do know as of right now, the cardboard volume coming in is definitely increasing. And just from our vehicle, our sales, it's increased quite a lot. So it's definitely on the rise. A lot of people are getting more on board with recycling, so which is a good thing. So.
Commissioners' comments?
I've got some questions about, if you don't care if I go first, or just get it over with. I went up to the recycling center Thursday, maybe, and another commissioner asked about a whole bunch of plastic that is sitting out. So as you pull in, it's, you know, where the big concrete blocks are, when you first pull in and curve around a little bit, there's plastic right there, big bunch of bundles of it. Well, I talked to the guy about that, and because another commissioner had asked why it's been there for a little while, and he had told me that that there's a whole bunch of trash in it, and that they're having to go through it. And I could actually see a big, looked like a pallet stick sticking out of one of them, and so they're having to go through each bale or each whatever you call that and clean it out, get the trash out, put the plastic in. You know, at some point, it's costing us more, just like with the city recycling center. If it's costing us more to clean that out and just get the plastic than it is what we're paying our employees, then we need to get rid of it. Does that make sense?
It does. Those particular bales, to the best of my knowledge, were given to us in that state. Kind of.
Right, exactly. That's what he said.
One of those when there's nothing else going on, if the guys are called up, we bring one in, break it apart. And you're absolutely right. It does have everything in it.
I could see it.
It's like a single stream type bale. It has cardboard, paper, everything.
I can kind of answer that. That was before I left. We put a pile that had a truck wreck and he said, yeah, because they told us it was plastic. But what's happened is it is single stream. So the boys down there are breaking it apart when they have time and running it through with our stuff to plastics.
Right.
That was brought in off a vehicle wreck somewhere here local.
Well, I understand it's been up there about 3-4 weeks. So
That's a one-time deal, one-time thing. I just took it because it's plastic bales.
Right. Well, yeah, at first glance, it looks like all plastic.
I didn't see
When you get closer
pictures.
up to it, you can really see that there's junk and everything in it. That was just a suggestion that was given. And when I went up there, I thought, yeah, if they're having to spend way too much time on that, then, and we're not really gonna make money because we're having workers work on it, then, that's something you kind of need to look at. And then I thought the concrete was or had been poured for the recycling. And then they told me no, that the guy came in, the concrete guy came in and said that it needed to be dug down more than it was. And that they said they didn't have anything to dig it, to scrape it or whatever you do to get it flat again.
They were, yeah, they said, I don't know if it was just due from the rain, it just washed, filled it back in that side or what. It was just one corner edge of it. It looked like it had just kind of, looked like it had been dug and then it just over the rain has just kind of washed it with the rainy weather. But, I have not found out, but I do know the guy that was doing it actually went down there Saturday to work on that, to correct that issue and make the form so that we can get the concrete poured in. And, yeah, that was the whole problem, was it didn't look like, it just looked like it had been done and then it just, the rain had washed it back in.
Yeah, I could tell it had.
Re-dig it out again, so.
But what's that? I mean, is it ready to go now?
I'm not sure. Like I said, this was on Friday and he was supposed to went down there Saturday and I was not there today. So I haven't had a chance to actually look at it myself.
So that's all that's left for them to come in and concrete.
I'll have to redo, yeah, they had to move the form, redo that, and they're gonna put the form back and then they should be ready to pour.
Okay.
Is this something we can do with a shovel, or do we need somebody with a
I'll take a shot.
front end loader or
I
something?
think they used the skid steer at the recycle center.
There's one down there.
6 months now. So, and also, the guy that was up there, and I'm sorry, I wrote his name down, I can't think of it, but anyway, super nice guy, really answered all my questions. When they pull up, I'm talking about the recycling part that we're gonna have outside the gate, okay, eventually, and we, of course, move the gate. When they pull up in if they have a trailer on the truck or whatever, there is not gonna be room for them to make a U-turn. So he even said, you know, we're gonna cut some of that hill out a little bit or what, for them to make, you know, if the gate's closed, there's, I mean, they can't back all the way down.
We on that hill, Pete?
Inside the fence we do.
Yeah, there's some you could see, but I mean, there's not a whole lot. But I mean, that's going to be an issue because if not, if something's not done, I see people hitting the fence because I know I would hit the fence if I had a trailer hooked onto my truck or whatever, trying to make a U-turn right there. So
They shouldn't hit the fence because the fence ain't gonna be there.
well, I know, but it's
It'll be on
still,
the upper side.
but it's still when you're pulling up and trying to make a U-turn to go back out. What I mean.
They should be able to cut that bank back. I didn't get that far. That bank should be able to cut back, but you can't move the fence back any wider because of your gate. Your gate's already built and it only goes a certain width, so you can't move that part back. But inside that area, as long as we don't hit some kind of line or something like that, that should be able to be cut back.
Well, I thought you were moving the gate back.
Yes, but it's the same size gate, so
Okay.
it can't go any wider.
Okay, yeah, I get that. I mean, that's just something to look at, because I mean, otherwise, I really think people are going to run into the gate, pulling forward, backing up or whatever, and then we don't want another extra expense. I think if somebody just has a little tractor type thing, could, cut some of it out, it would probably be all right. But he did ask me about that, and I said, well, I'll bring it up in the meeting. And the fence guy is 6 weeks out, is that correct?
That was,
5-10 months now, whatever.
that was 3 or 4 weeks ago when he told me he was 6 out. I don't know how close he is now.
But he can't do it till the concrete's poured, is that?
No, he can do that before.
The fence goes behind the concrete pad, so he can do that anytime. If he's ready, he can do it.
Can we check on that and see when is gonna be here?
The last email I got, he said, and this was, a week ago. Said, I have not forgotten about you. I'm trying my hardest to get things done. I've got people everywhere biting at my heels. I hope I can get down there in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I understand you're needing to get it taken care of as soon as possible. I'll see what I can do. That was not this past week, but week before last that he sent me this email. Well, not is the message it wouldn't have emailed.
So that's 2 weeks then.
So
So he's got another
Two.
week. He's saying 2 to 3 weeks. Because I mean, this is the 4th month,
I know,
okay?
that's what I told him.
So, I mean, this, to me, this is just, we're throwing money away right here. If we can get that in, then, you know, we're cutting here and there, and then this is a way to get some money.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not a whole lot, but right now, everything's counting, so. You know, if he's that backed up, is there somebody else that can do it, or is he just
There
pretty much
was another
it?
guy that came, what was his name?
Oh, you.
He done the fencing, the same guy that done the fencing at, Valley Forge auction. He was like triple what this guy's charging us for the same amount of work and fence.
Okay, so by this time next meeting, this should be done then, is that right? Because that gives him 4 more weeks. Concrete should be poured.
Laura, you need to make sure that's,
Yeah, I'll go down there as soon as I get everything going. I'll ride down there and make sure everything's took care of.
Okay, that's all I have.
Hey, Gary, I just messaged our mechanic at work. He said if you get that key in the fob through the dealership, he can program that with his computer.
who was it?
Our mechanic at work,
Oh, your mechanic.
he works for a place. I said if you order that through the dealer, that comes through the dealership, I'll find some kind of crazy brand, so that he could program that with the computer, cost you the dime.
You'll have to get it cut.
You go to find the key in the fob. You go to get the key fob, yeah, he could program it for you, if he wanted to. I don't know how much that'll save him. I basically asked him if he could program it. He said, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it costs more getting it from the dealership than it would. It's down something. I just asked him when he
I'll
was
go over
talking
tomorrow and ask.
Well, if you're gonna change, we have to have another motion.
Yeah, that's what I said.
How much you say it was gonna be at the fourth place then?
Yeah, somewhere.
We can get it down to 3, and just stay with the,
Stay with where you go.
Yeah.
stay with it, 3.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Before we get started with education, we got a couple of people who want to speak on some highway issues. Warren, you want to go first?
Sure. Just gonna go get supper.
No, there's a highway meeting. They just, Mr. Harden said that they speak for themselves.
State your name and address.
We don't have an official highway meeting, but they're just.
My name's Warren Price and I live at 160 Stout Holler Road, Hampton. I've got the petition here. I got 100% out of Stout Holler and Clawson Holler. So Clawson Holler runs into Stout Holler and that's the only way they can get out, and Morton Holler. The issues are the pavement that has been patched numerous times. There's outcrops, rocks. I've got the pictures here, which I'll hand to you. You can start. There's 2 places where the rocks are sticking out. One makes it a blind spot, and the other one, if you're bringing a big truck or like I help Jess Bailey bring hay in, you can barely get by the mailbox in the rock, trying to get up through Morton Holler. And if you're passing a car, you're going to be in somebody's driveway or you're going to be in somebody's yard trying to get by them. Now, Stout Holler from 150 Stout Holler and below, the road is washed out 3 or 4 times underneath it. Then we have log trucks, dump trucks, logging trucks, and garbage trucks. And eventually that road is going to, I think it's going to break away. And it's not a ditch, it's a bank. Somebody's going to go over the bank and going to roll. And there's no place to pass from about 150 down. Now, I live at 160 and I've kind of fixed mine up to where people can get by, but there's other places on through there. It's just basically a 1-lane road. And down at the bottom of Stout Holler, where that rock crop is and stuff, there's been several wrecks down there, people's hit, including my daughter's been one of them. Was in an accident down there right in that curve because you can't see around it. And some of that rock really needs, everybody's talked about it up there. That rock needs to be, but like I said, I got 100% of Stout Holler and 95% of Morton Holler and all of Clawson Holler. Excuse some of this down here because I put this in here. When I put in, it says basically it says both roads are my wife put in there. I can't even spell it or pronounce it. Disarray and been patched so many times that it's become rough to drive in. Stout Holler, it has a dangerous curve on the swimming pool side because you've got a swimming pool side and then Stout Holler. I don't know if you've never been up there. Stout Holler runs into Morton Holler and then goes out. You can make a right, go down to get to Highway 321. And there's been several wrecks. There's a rock wall in the curve that needs to be blasted down because it's a blind spot. And if you're not doing about 5 miles an hour, you're liable to hit somebody head on. The road has been washed out under the road. We have had several log trucks and rollbacks runs this road, and eventually it's going to, in our opinion, it's going to break through and go over the bank. Now, that's not the way it reads, but that's what it did. Now, this part here, I don't want anybody to take offense to it, but this is a fact. During the election time, the commissioners has promised to get it fixed, to get voted in, and they have no intentions on repairing the road. These 2 roads needs to be completely. Now, I have personally had 2 commissioners come up there and I put them in side by side and took them through and showed them the stuff where the pavement's breaking and everything else. Excuse me, my eyes are burning. And they say they're going to get it fixed. I've talked to, I'm name right. Your name, give me your name again. I'm sorry.
Todd Smith.
Yeah, Todd. I talked to Todd, and apparently we're not even on the list to get the road fixed. So something's going to need to be done. We've had several cars slide off on Stout Holler Road down that bank, and it's wonders none of them's rolled over. It's just about straight up and down. In front of my house, in front of my driveway, or actually it would be the lower end of Terry Bobbitt's across the ditch is over 4 foot deep. We don't need a ditch that deep. And somebody's going to go off in there and they're going to have to get a wreck or something to pick them up and put them back in the road. And that has happened. And there's another place on up the road that's the same way. Horn Stouts, I don't know their address. So that's my concern. Everybody has said that Morton Road needs to be widened, get people out of their yards and stuff. And Stout Holler is narrow too, and it also has got places where these trucks, I don't know, you might get a pickup truck or a car up the roof, I don't know, the paper's cracking. They packed rocks underneath there, but, there's gaps between the rocks and stuff, so that doesn't, that's, to me, personally, I'm not an engineer, but I don't believe that's a good fix. And when the covers get clogged up and all the leaves start washing down and it clogs up and we get these hard rains, it washes down and it washes out under, I don't know how the pavement's staying up. So it's got to be a pretty dangerous situation. Here, I'll give this petition to this lady here. And that's about all I can say about it.
Shannon, you got a little bit to say. You're
We can look at it. I went through our this morning. I mean, yeah, it's rough. It's a lot of potholes, a lot of patching. I mean, a patch on top of a patch is a rough patched road. I mean, that's about pretty much county-wide.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and just like you're talking about, washing it out where we placed riprap in the ditch to try to pack back on the asphalt, keep it from washing out, because there's nothing else you put in it. Put in dirt or anything and try to fill the ditches back up. Wash it all back out.
Oh, yeah.
All you can put in there.
And one other thing I'd like to bring up, when they do come out there and they fix people's driveways where the water washes out, all they're doing is moving the water back. They don't, see, I repaired my own. It got so bad. Now I've got an F-250 and I put the front two tires in the ditch where it had washed out, and I had to get out and lock the hubs in to get out. Now I took my backhoe and I leaned my tractor over and dug down through there and filled it in with cement and rebar and all that stuff to keep it from washing over that way. And when they repair people's driveways, they need to make it back towards the road, not further in the driveway. I know at 150, you look at that, they've repaired it at least twice. And when it gets washed out, I usually go down there and fix it for them.
A lot of work. We can look at it and see if there's something we can do. I mean,
I don't think I can.
Lightning wise, those rock clips, we don't have.
Well, nice. Well, that one in Morton Hall is pretty, the guys put a mailbox up because they was tearing his yard up, and you can barely get it.
Has there been any significant changes in the past 2 or 3 years up there? Any excessive erosion more than normal, or is this?
Yes, when we have these heavy rains, I've lived up there since '96, when I got out of the military. And there's nobody's bought new houses or anything else or whatever. Now I put a garage up down there, but the ditch is on the other side of the road, not on my side. So.
There have been issues up there as long as I can remember. My great-grandfather was the first house on the right going up South Hall, so I was born in there.
Talking about the Potter place?
Oh, it's rough. I've been through there.
And I'm not a spring chicken, so it's been going that way well over 50 years now. It's just getting worse and worse and worse.
In comparison to some of the other county roads, there's other ones that's similar that when you start riding up them, they look the same way. Mountain roads, you build on the side of a mountain. That's what it is. I mean, they just do so much on a hillside like that.
I don't think there's an easy answer. I spoke to Shannon some about it.
It's really not, because you ain't gonna take people's yards to widen the road, they're not gonna have that.
Yeah.
Well,
Rock lift over here, you
may not be able to widen the road. It'd be nice to knock that rock back down on the curve, we can probably live with a one lane. Pardon me?
on the swimming pool end.
Yeah. And knock that other one out in Morton Holler, knock it back. And, folks can probably live with that, but, yeah.
Look at it.
Then,
We've got a hammer, a rock hammer.
Yeah. But the patches on top of the patches, I mean, it's rough.
You really hammer.
You really hammer. You might need a rock chisel.
Another 50 years.
We'll take a look at it. See if it's-
Yeah, I wish y'all could, because everybody, you know.
Well, I understand.
All right, thank you for your time.
You need those pictures back, or do you want to leave them?
Pardon me?
Pictures, do you want to
Oh,
back? You want-
no, you guys can have them.
Okay, I'll put them in the petition.
Trash can for all I care.
I'll put them with the petition.
You guys had some issues also that need to be, highway issues.
Mine's not about any kind of money. Budget's tighter than they ever been before, haven't they? I'm here tonight representing what's here and all the people that signed our petition to bring the speed limit back to 35 miles an hour on the Bristol Highway from Slagle's Road down to the county line. My cousin Harold Massengill over here had a conversation with the county officer and said he had heard that it was raised and it would help their police force if they dropped it back to 35 because they have been coming down in there patrolling. But they're not sitting yet. And we're hoping pretty soon Rasnick Holler or right across from where I live, my Uncle Rudy Shipley's place is a perfect spot to sit. I'm not trying to make people go broke paying tickets. That's tough on everybody right now. But it's a fact that when you come down a road, you see an officer sitting there, the first thing you want to do is see if you're speeding. And that would really help us a lot for the speed limit to be 35 miles an hour. Hopefully you put it on the table tonight and vote for it.
We can just fix that tomorrow.
Just do the S curves right there from,
We'll start at Slagle, put it 35 to the county line, from the county line back to Slagle, 35.
fair enough.
That'd be perfect for us. That's what we're wanting.
And then we'll leave it 45.
I don't need to go to full commission, right?
No, we can just county line, take care of that, no problem.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Put it back like it was.
Really appreciate it.
Good issue.
You want to take it back to 35?
From the county line down to the river?
County line,
To Slagle Road.
Slagle Road.
On top of the hill.
Oh, up the hill. What are you doing?
No, the full commission voted.
Should be all right.
I mean, it's ultimately up to you, but the full commission voted to change it. I mean, and the highway committee's not even meeting tonight. Unless y'all put it on the agenda for the full commission meeting and without a committee recommendation and see if they'll suspend the rules and vote on it later, it might be the quickest thing. I mean, it's ultimately up to.
When it was 35 to start with, I figured we just take it back to 35.
They just changed it like 2 months ago, this same commission.
That's fine,
I don't know what the good answer, Steve.
He's,
Well, Josh, yes.
he's the one that says.
Well, y'all can change it tomorrow, but that's
They're
up.
officially meeting tonight. I mean,
There's a discussion, so do we need to wait?
no, I think you could bring it up at the full commission meeting. With the discussion about that it was just recently changed and there's, and the scheduling issues for tonight and ask to suspend the rules and vote on it at the full commission.
Do that.
Did y'all hear that? It's not gonna happen tomorrow. 2 weeks at the full commission, we're gonna ask to suspend the rules of the commission and vote and re-vote on it.
You have to have a vote on it?
Yeah. For legal reasons.
Okay. All right.
You're a couple weeks out.
Well, we really appreciate, I had a conversation with our sheriff right after I was here on May 1st. And he started bringing patrols down slowly because he's shorthanded. He says he's got a big county to handle with not many officers. And I also had a conversation in Fall Branch with the Highway Patrol. And they got the petitions and they're going to see what they can do. But there might be some issues about whether it's their district to take, I think, is that a county road considered a county road? Maybe they can't come down a county road. But I also have seen.
30 years. It hasn't stopped in the last 30 years.
Well, I have seen him sit down in Boardview Church parking lot watching that straightaway. Maybe a few months ago. People's got to be slowed down so we can all live a little longer. It's tough enough with health. Thank you all, we appreciate that.
Okay, we'll call to order the education committee and we'll go on the same roll call. Get a motion approval of the agenda.
I'm taking it. I'll second it.
All in favor? We didn't have a meeting in May, so we'll need to approve the April minutes. Can I get a motion on that?
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Is there any public comments? What?
All public's gone.
Oh, I'm sorry, all in favor of the minutes? Any opposed? Okay, no public comment. Director's report, Dr. Bowers is going to go over a couple of things. Well, maybe one, just a couple.
More a couple. So I've got the agenda. I'll try to kind of go in order because I sometimes get talking and go in different directions. So the first, open enrollment. So back in 2021, the state passed a law where any student can go to any school that they want to, as long as they arrive, as long as they live in Carter County. So we have to open that up 15 days every year. And we actually had 72 students request to go to a school that was not within the district that they live in. So,
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
Does that include that we have to include transportation or they have to?
They have to provide the transportation.
Okay, and what about if the school is full? Is that
So
rule's gone now?
that rule's gone
I
now.
thought it was.
So,
I just wanted to double check.
right. And so in the past, when they first passed that law, if a certain classroom would be full, let's say that a student from Hunter wanted to go to Hampton and Hampton was at a state maximum on second grade and that student wanted to go there, we could deny them. We can't do that any longer. So what we would have to do as a county is put another teacher at Hampton and pay for that to make sure we're in that state, those state ratios. And they're different per grade band. So this year it was a lot of Kingburg students that were just, they were zoned to maybe go to Central or zoned to go to Hunter and they wanted to go to the opposite one. So that was the bulk of them. You didn't see there was not one school that was like everyone was leaving to go to another one. And a lot of times it has to do with siblings or grandparents might be taking them, so it's easier. So this is up from last year. Last year we were about 58 and this is 72. So like I said, mostly those Kingburg kids that did that.
Does that include the Milligan students or is that?
No, those were different. So those weren't in that open enrollment. Though the grades 6 through 8 that's coming to Hampton, those weren't in that open enrollment area. And then also that kind of piggybacks off open enrollment. If a student does not live in Carter County, we have to have them have an application to attend our schools. So it is up to the board and Dr. Carpenter if they charge tuition for outside of Carter County students. If they live outside the state, we have to charge tuition. So we don't currently have any students that are living outside the state. So all of our students that don't live in Carter County had to fill out an application this year. That's a new law. That was the first year we've had to do it. We'll have to do it every year. We just have to keep it in their permanent record saying that they've applied, we've accepted, and kind of went around along that line. A lot of parents had a lot of questions about that because that was just a new law that we have to do. So no tuition. We just.
So if a child's in Johnson County and they want to go to Carter County, or we don't know yet if they're going to have to pay tuition.
No, they're not going to have to.
Okay, well, let me ask you this: does their money? Because I know this
Right.
is crazy.
Well,
Does their money come with them?
what we have been told, it does.
Okay,
Now,
so
T said,
there
right.
was some question about
There was
that.
a lot of question about that, and that kind of piggybacked off that ball. The reason why this one, it does follow them.
Okay.
So, and that's the reason why that we have to charge if they're outside the state, because that money wouldn't follow them from a different state because they don't follow the same piece of laws. So that law says that you shall do it. So, but we're lucky we don't have anybody outside the state right now.
Unions hadn't had any offers coming from Avery County down here yet.
Now, obviously, you get some right on that. You know, we have a few, but a lot of times they have double residency or things to that nature. So as long as they can provide a Tennessee address, and that's what's on Skyward. I mean, it has to be on Skyward by a certain date, which is our EIS system. It's where it's the student database that the state can pull, and it has to be in by a certain date and those addresses. So, any other questions about those kind of things? Okay, so building update on the Hunter project. The sewer is supposed to be starting this week. So that would be for the new wing and what's currently there because it needed updating. We've got the project out for bid. So far, we've had a lot of interest in some reputable companies that are local. We're looking to want to start that in the fall, and we're looking about 18 to 24 months from when we get started. And then the Kingbird project. So as you all know, that's where we're moving our central office to. What the teachers had till last Friday to get all their personal items out, so all that's done. Maintenance has been working really hard last week, and it's already started back this week, getting all the other items out. So Hunter and Central, those two schools went first, take what they needed for those new classrooms, and then we let all the other schools in the district take what they needed. We're gonna start painting this week, because it's orange and black, and that really doesn't go well in Carter County. So we're painting that this week, and then hopefully our office is going to be moving over in mid-July. We've got it right now slated for the week after July 4th. On top of just our office moving there, the alternative school, same is going to be housed at there too. Preschool that was housed at a different location is coming with us. We're going to have a
preschool offices, right?
Preschool offices, not the students. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. The preschool offices. We're going to have the testing coordinator that's been housed elsewhere there. We've got coordinated school health, Carter Cares. We actually have a food and a clothing closet that's housed elsewhere. All of that's going to be in one central location. So that's going to be much more efficient now. And we're actually being able to consolidate several jobs with that. And with that being said, all of these projects are completely funded through the school system, all grant funds, nothing asking from you guys. It's all funds that we're setting within our budget. When we get into the next couple of things, TCAP and third grade retention, all that data is still embargoed. So technically, I can't sit here and tell you about specific schools, even like data that we have to tell you about what we think the district did. I can kind of give you some overviews, but I just want to let you know it's not that I'm trying to be vague. I'm just legally not allowed to talk about them yet because we are still in that appeal window. So we have the ability to appeal to the state, and it goes back and forth. Realistically, they normally don't unembargo the data until September. So we'll be back in school before I can really give you hard numbers. I can tell you that what we've looked at, we would have met every projection that the state's given us in every level with every TCAP and every EOC, which I don't know of the time that Carter County's ever done that. At least the time that
is huge. I don't think people realize how big that is for our county.
Yeah, I can say in the 15 years that I worked for the district, we've never done that. And that's really impressive. So that's not, we'd see really great growth in math or really great in ELA, but to have what we're projecting to meet every single one is huge. So that is just our teachers doing great work all day, every day. I mean, it's that culture now that we've got back in the system that we're really proud of. Talking about third grade retention, that was a big hot topic. I can tell you that we only had to have 5% of our third graders had to attend summer school. So only 5%, and that's really good compared to what we were rejecting at the beginning of the year and everything the state was telling us. So, but short of that, that's about as far as I can get into the data part of it. We did, for talking about summer school, we have 243 students enrolled. First day was today, went really well. We've got 46 teachers working. We have 10 aides and 4 janitors, so we're fully staffed. Other districts had a really hard time getting people. We had extra people that wanted to work, which I think is just a testament again to our teachers and what they're doing for our kids. Today, we had to give the pre-test in math and English. So first day of summer school, they have to come in and take a test. That's probably not what the kids nor the teachers wanted, but that's the requirements by using that state funds that we have to do. And then we'll have to give one within the last 3 days. Summer school is running Monday through Thursday, and it's 8 to 2, and it's only at Happy Valley Elementary. We were able to consolidate to one location because that school can actually hold 500 students. So we were able to be much more efficient there. Providing transportation, we have all of our special needs students were able to go there too. So we have our self-contained classes, we have our OTs working, we have speech and language pathologists coming in and giving extra services to our kids too. So it's running like a full school. Yes, sir.
Question on that. I got a friend that, because being on the commissioner, she asked me and I didn't know how to answer it. She lives at the head of Stony Brook. And she has to drive all the way to Happy Valley Elementary to take her daughter and then drive all the way back to Elizabeth and to work. And then it gets out at 2:30 or something. She has to wait to take her dinner break then and run back down there, her daughter back to work. Was there a reason why? You might have said.
It's okay. So we do provide transportation. So there's a bus that would go.
No, I mean, why?
Why?
Is it Plum to Happy Valley? You mean,
well,
didn't split up and.
We couldn't do it at Hunter because the project's starting. So Hunter was out. Hampton was out because of the cafeteria is getting replaced. And so the only other school that was large enough to house everything was at Happy Valley Elementary. And last year, it's not ideal. It's not what we would like to do. We'd like to have it in the center of the county. But with the kitchen updates at Hampton and then the Hunter project starting with that sewer, we just couldn't have it there. So those are the two reasons.
That way I can answer.
Yeah, of course. And let her know too that there is an option. So we stop summer school at 2, and that's what the state requires us for that 3rd grade retention. But then we have from 2 to 3, we have a stream camp, which is just all science and technology. And then there's Carter Cares free of charge until 5:30. So let her know that, and it's an online application. Some people aren't as comfortable. Tell her to please reach out to me tomorrow. So she can stay from 8 to 5:30 and to help her with her work. So we provided that extra time for reasons like that. So if students, for parents at 2 o'clock is a hard time to pick them up, we do have that option. So let her please give her my number and I'll help her and we can get her enrolled in that. Now, we can't enroll any more students, but that stopped. But if someone like that's already enrolled, we can get them to where they can stay till 5:30. Yeah, most definitely. Any other questions about summer school? Okay. ACT, same kind of thing, but still embargoed. I can just tell you that we've raised our score right about 1.5 which is tons of scholarship monies for our kids. Certain schools, higher than others, but again, hopefully sooner than September, I can give you those specific details. But we're looking at about a 1.5 to 1.6 this range of an increase in scores, which is huge for our students. I mean, I like talking about test scores like TCAP and EOCs because it shows what my teachers are doing. But the ACT, that's money in this gets pocket. So for scholarships. And then Carter Tech, that's going to open in August. It is at full capacity with 80 students already. So we've got 2 programs running and they're both completely full, which is wonderful. And we're going to look to, extend it and make it bigger the following year. But we've got, Mr. Bradley, that's going to be the principal there, or that's already, going out and recruiting more kids, and we told him we had to slow down a little bit because we were already full. We can't have any more. So, which is really exciting. So, we're having welding and Kubota there to start this year, and then we'll extend that as we go along. And then I think that's about it for me, unless there's specific questions about any of those updates. It helps me.
Busy time of the year.
It is a really busy time of the year. I mean, it's busy time, obviously, for my department, but we're fully staffed at this point, which is like one that I'm still that way in the morning. And so we're, right along. Anything else?
Any questions?
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you. And I'll go ahead and tell you, unless there's a specific thing, we usually don't have a meeting in July because
There won't be a lot for me to.
nothing new to tell,
Yeah.
we're not in
No.
school. So,
Yeah.
it's all possible. I don't plan to have an education meeting in July. Just letting you all know.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Old business, and I know y'all should get me hearing this, but the recycling program, I have Dr. Carpenter asked me to meet with him this summer and go over, really make a more detailed plan about getting, large containers to each school and then rotating around. I talked to, Stephen and to Benny, and we're gonna try to work out to where each school has 5 or 6 of these big containers that I bought. And they'll trade out, they'll come by the school, get those that are full, and then give them 5 or 6 new empty ones and try to trade out, and that's gonna be clean paper. Now, they'll still be coming and getting cardboard, in a different, trash dumpster. That's what we're hoping to, but, right now, I was kind of waiting till Benny came back and we, had a better plan anyway for that. So hopefully that can bring in some revenue. I will tell you, it breaks my heart that the paper that I know was thrown away at Kingberg and books and everything else that, we could have maybe sent to the recycling center. So that's a loss there that we maybe could have made some money off of. Anyway, that's only the old business. And there's really no new business. Does anybody have any comments, commissioner comments? Somebody make a motion to return, or a motion to adjourn? Not return, sorry. All in favor?
Y'all have a good day.
That is my plan. We're down there.
That is. That's.
These I enjoy is the way.
Well, Steve was in a hurry, he doesn't go.
So essentially, it just needs to be on the website 2 days prior. And
Yeah.
Change.
It's really laid out.
Okay.
That's yours.
Yeah, I got one ready. I was gonna submit one, and I just didn't know if I needed this. So, this person.
No, I don't.
Just because somebody moves into the area